Hello, learners. Welcome to the next lecture of Module 4. That is where we explore LGBTQ plus health and rights. In our previous lecture, we examined violence against women and its consequences for health and rights. Today, we shift focus to another group whose health needs and rights are often marginalized: the LGBTQ plus community. Sexual orientation and gender identity are integral to health and human dignity. Yet, stigma, discrimination, and legal barriers often deny LGBTQ plus individuals their rights. This lecture will cover health disparities, legal frameworks, social determinants, and the way forward to ensure equity and justice for LGBTQ plus populations. The term LGBTQ represents a wide spectrum of identities, including lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and others who do not conform to traditional gender or sexual norms. Health in this context cannot be separated from dignity, rights, and acceptance. Despite progress in recognition and advocacy, LGBTQ plus people continue to experience exclusion, discrimination, and violence across societies. These experiences shape their access to healthcare, mental well being, and overall quality of life. Ensuring health and rights for LGBTQ plus individuals is both a public priority and a human rights imperative. Before we proceed, it's important to clarify terminology. Sexual orientation refers to emotional or sexual attraction to others, while gender identity reflects one's internal sense of being male or female or both or neither. Gender expression is how individuals present themselves through behavior, their dressing, and their roles in the society. Intersectionality recognizes that LGBTQ plus people may also face discrimination based on caste, class, religion, or disability, compounding marginalization. Understanding and respecting these terms is essential for inclusive, right based healthcare. LGBTQ plus populations face distinct health disparities. Rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide are higher due to stigma and social exclusion. Gay and bisexual men often face elevated risks of HIV and sexually transmitted infections, while transgender people experience barriers to preventive and curative care services. Lesbian and bisexual women are frequently neglected in reproductive health services as systems assume heterosexuality. These disparities are not due to identity itself, but also due to social determinants like stigma, discrimination, and lack of inclusive services. These LGBTQ plus populations face distinct kind of health disparities. Social determinants strongly shape LGBTQ plus health outcomes. Stigma and discrimination in communities, workplaces, and health systems create stress and prevent individuals from seeking care. Family rejection often leads to social isolation, loneliness, or forced marriages. Employment and educational barriers increase poverty risks, limiting access to health services. These determinants highlight that improving LGBTQ plus health is not only a mechanical issue, but these determinants highlight that improving LGBTQ plus health is not only a medical issue, but also a question of social justice and equality. The minority stress model explains how chronic stress related to stigma and discrimination harms LGBTQ plus health. External stressors include harassment, violence, and exclusion, while internalized stigma leads to self doubt, shame, and secrecy. This constant stress contributes to mental health problems, substance abuse, and poorer physical health outcomes. The model underscores why eliminating stigma is crucial. Health disparities cannot be addressed without tackling the social environment that produces this stress and harm. Mental health concerns are particularly high among LGBTQ plus individuals. Experiences of rejection, bullying, and violence contribute to depression and anxiety disorders. Substance use is often a coping mechanism, leading to higher rates of alcohol and drug dependence. Suicidal risks are significantly elevated, especially among LGBTQ plus youth who feel isolated or pressured into conformity. Addressing mental health requires creating safe spaces, supportive services, and community resilience while reducing this stigma that fuels their distress and isolation. HIV remains a major health concern in LGBTQ plus population, especially among men who have sex with men and transgender women. Stigma, fear of criminalization, and discrimination discourage many from seeking testing and treatment. Health services often lack confidentiality or sensitivity, further deterring access. Prevention strategies must be inclusive, promoting condoms and awareness without moral judgment. Combating HIV requires not only medical interventions but also dismantling of stigma and legal barriers. Transgender individuals have specific health needs, including gender affirming care such as hormone therapy and surgeries. Access to these services is often limited, expensive, or stigmatized. Lack of trained providers and restrictive regulations exacerbate barriers. Transgender people also face disproportionate violence, unemployment, and housing insecurity, compounding health risks. Recognizing transgender health as integral to reproductive and sexual health rights ensures dignity and well being for this community. Reproductive health systems frequently assume heterosexuality, neglecting lesbian and bisexual women's needs. They may face dismissive providers, lack of screening, or denial of fertility services. Access to assisted reproduction is often legally restricted for unmarried or same sex couples. Parenting rights, including adoption, remain limited in many countries. These barriers denies LGBTQ plus individuals the right to family life and reproductive autonomy, highlighting the need for inclusive reproductive health frameworks. Violence against LGBTQ plus people is a widespread but under-recognized issue. Hate crimes, harassment, and bullying occur in schools, in workplaces, in public places, even in their families. Many face violence, as I told you, from their own homes, their families, trying to enforce conformity. Sexual violence, including coercive rape, is used to punish or change sexual orientation or gender identity. The violence not only harms individuals but also reinforces fear and invisibility, deterring people from seeking support or asserting their rights in driving them towards isolation and loneliness. Globally, LGBTQ plus rights have advanced in many regions, with homosexuality decriminalized and same sex marriage recognition in numerous countries. However, in others, homosexuality remains criminalized, sometimes punishable by imprisonment or even death. This legal environment directly affects health and rights, as criminalization fosters stigma and excludes individuals from healthcare. The progress is uneven, reminding us that advocacy and reform remain critical for global health equity. In India, 2018 Supreme Court judgment striking down Section 377 decriminalized consensual same sex relations, a historic victory for LGBTQ plus rights. The Transgender Persons Act of 2019 recognizes gender identity and prohibits discrimination, though it has been criticized for bureaucratic hurdles. However, gaps remain, particularly in marriage, adoption, and inheritance rights for same sex couples. The legal framework has made progress, but full equality remains unfinished. Healthcare systems often fail LGBTQ plus individuals. Providers may hold prejudices, leading to discrimination or outright denial of care. Most medical curricula lack training on LGBTQ plus health, leaving providers unprepared to make their specific and special needs. Confidentiality and privacy are frequently violated, deterring individuals from disclosing identities or seeking services. These barriers highlight the need for sensitization, training, and systemic reforms to make healthcare inclusive and respectful of diversity. Mental health support is critical for LGBTQ plus populations. Counseling services tailored to their concerns can provide safe spaces to process experiences. Peer support groups and community based organizations foster resilience by offering solidarity and advocacy. Addressing stigma with mental health services is essential, as pathologizing identities has historically caused harm. Support systems must focus on empowerment, coping strategies, and building resilience, enabling LGBTQ plus individuals to thrive despite the challenges they face in the communities and systems. Education systems can perpetuate stigma or promote inclusion. Schools must address bullying and harassment targeting such students, ensuring their safe learning environments. Comprehensive sexuality education that includes LGBTQ plus identities equips all students with accurate knowledge and respect for diversities, and that should be a must for inclusion in the school curricula from the beginning. This should feature positive representation of LGBTQ plus individuals, challenge stereotypes, and normalize their acceptance in the society and community. Education thus plays a transformative role in shaping social attitudes and reducing health disparities. Workplace influence health through inclusion or exclusion. Non discrimination policies protect LGBTQ plus employees from harassment and dismissal. Inclusive health benefits, such as coverage for same sex partners, or gender affirming care ensure equity. Diversity training raises awareness among colleagues and managers, creating respectful environments. Inclusive workplaces reduces stress, enhance productivity, and contribute to better health outcomes for LGBTQ plus individuals. Community empowerment is at the heart of LGBTQ plus resilience. Pride movements provide visibility, solidarity, and affirmation of identity. Advocacy groups fight for legal reforms, healthcare inclusion, and societal acceptance. Building safe spaces, both physical and virtual, allows individuals to connect, share experiences, and access support. Empowered communities not only improve individual well being but also derive societal change, challenging discrimination and promoting equality. Intersectionality reminds us that LGBTQ plus individuals are not a homogeneous group. Those from marginalized castes, religion, minorities, rural areas, and with disabilities face compounded discrimination. Urban LGBTQ plus populations may have more access to services and communities, while rural individuals face isolation. Policies and programs must therefore recognize diverse realities, addressing the compounded challenge faced by those at the intersections of multiple marginalizations. International frameworks have strengthened LGBTQ plus rights. The Yogyakarta Principles in 2006 articulated how human rights apply to sexual orientation and gender identity. The UN Free and Equal campaign promotes equality through advocacy and awareness. The WHO's declassification of homosexuality as a mental disorder was a pivotal step in reducing stigma. These frameworks provide advocacy, tools, and global legitimacy for local struggles to secure LGBTQ plus health and rights. Health policies must explicitly include LGBTQ plus needs. National strategies should incorporate their health within broader public health goals, ensuring equity and equality. HIV prevention and treatment programs must be tailored to the realities of men who have sex with men and transgender individuals. Policies must guarantee access to gender affirming care, making it affordable and standardized. Inclusive policies signal recognition and provide frameworks for action, transforming healthcare into a right based system for these populations. Media, it plays a very powerful role in shaping perceptions. Positive visibility and representation of LGBTQ plus individuals in films, television, and social media challenge stereotypes and normalize acceptance. You must have seen a movie which was released a few years back. I think it was not a movie. It was a series with the name Tali, featuring Sushmita Sen. So it tells you all the struggles of these transgender women in this population. Okay, so that was an example of storytelling. Storytelling through media humanizes experiences, fostering empathy and reducing stigma. Advocacy campaigns can highlight rights and mobilize support. At the same time, responsible media must avoid sensitization. At the same time, responsible media must avoid sensationalism or caricatures ensuring dignity and respect in representation. Despite progress, barriers remain. Legal restrictions such as denial of marriage or adoption rights continue to limit equality. Social stigma entrenched in families and communities perpetuates exclusion. Lack of institutional support in schools, workplaces, and health systems exacerbates disparities. These barriers highlight the legal reforms, while necessary, are insufficient without broader social and institutional change to create environments where these individuals can exercise their rights fully. Tackling of stigma requires multi level action. Anti discrimination laws provide legal protection, making prejudice punishable. Sensitization programs for healthcare workers, teachers, and employers build empathy and reduce bias. Community awareness campaigns challenge stereotypes and promote acceptance at the grassroots levels. Reducing stigma is essential not only for rights but also for improving health outcomes. As stigma remains the single biggest barrier to accessing healthcare for LGBTQ plus individuals. The judiciary has played a progressive role in LGBTQ plus rights in India. The Nalsa judgment in 2014 recognized transgender people as a third gender, affirming their right to dignity, autonomy, and affirmative action. In 2018, decriminalization of Section 377 was historic, striking down colonial laws against same sex relations. Currently, petitions of marriage equality are being debated, highlighting the evolving legal landscape. The judiciary thus acts as a catalyst for social and policy change in advancing of rights of these people. Now, global examples they provide lessons for progress. Over 30 countries now recognize same sex marriages, affirming equality in family rights. Inclusive healthcare policies in countries like Canada and Argentina cover gender affirming care and LGBTQ plus specific services. Comprehensive anti discrimination protections ensure equality in education, employment, and housing. These best practices demonstrate that legal policy reforms can dramatically improve the health and well being of LGBTQ plus populations when implemented effectively. The future of their health and rights lies in expanding legal recognition, including marriage, adoption, and inheritance rights. Medical and nursing curricula must integrate LGBTQ plus health to train providers for inclusive care. Strengthening of community systems ensures resilience, advocacy, and peer support. Future directions emphasize both systemic reforms and grassroots empowerment, ensuring that progress is sustainable and inclusive. To summarize, LGBTQ plus populations experience distinct health disparities due to stigma, discrimination, and exclusion. Their health cannot be separated from dignity, rights, and equality. Reproductive and sexual health programs must include these populations' needs explicitly. Addressing stigma at all levels and reforming legal, social, and institutional systems are essential for equity. The key message is clear. Health justice for LGBTQ plus communities is inseparable from human rights. In conclusion, LGBTQ plus health and rights must be recognized as fundamental human rights. Denying them perpetuates inequality and exclusion, while promoting them promotes health, dignity, and justice. Ensuring these rights requires legal reforms, inclusive healthcare, supportive education, and empowered communities. The struggle for LGBTQ plus equality is ongoing. The struggle for LGBTQ plus equality is ongoing, but it is also a pathway to creating more just, compassionate, and equitable societies which are stronger and will lead to a quicker health for all. As we close, take a minute and reflect on the statement: no one is free until we all are free. The denial of LGBTQ plus rights diminishes not only those directly affected but also the society as a whole. Inclusion and equality strengthen communities, foster health, and affirm human dignity. As future health professionals, educators, and advocates, you carry the responsibility to ensure that LGBTQ plus individuals are not left behind. Their rights are human rights, and protecting them is central to the vision of health for all. Thank you. This is all for this lecture. Next, in lecture 28, we take up the role of males in reproductive health and family planning. Thank you.